I'm going to go over the real benefits of NoFap that not many people talk about because it's not what you think. If you don't know me, my name is Krishna, and I help young men quit their porn addictions by teaching the lessons that I personally learned throughout my journey. I think I saw porn first when I was around 8 or 9 years old. And this was, I remember this vividly, this was on a trip to Texas that me and my family took. We go to Texas, we get to our hotel, and I can't exactly remember how far into the trip this was. Maybe this was a few days into the trip. I believe I steal my mother's phone, right? Because I'm 8 years old, I'm 9 years old. I don't have a phone, right? You shouldn't give your 8-year-old, your 9-year-old a device that. It makes sense. So I stole my mother's phone, and I remember grabbing her phone, going into the hotel closet, the wardrobe, what I'm talking about, the wardrobe where you hang your jackets, this, whatever, you hang up your shirts and whatnot. Going in there, sliding the door closed, and loading up porn right there and then on my mom's phone, right? I'm there, I'm watching, I'm getting aroused, I'm kind of excited. I'm like, oh, this is a new thing. And I remember, I can't remember exactly who it was. Maybe it was somebody in my family. Maybe it was my brother or my mother or something like that. They slide the closet door open. They slide it open, and they find me. And not only do they find me, right? Okay, because they're probably thinking, okay, what the frick is this guy doing? Why is he in here? They grab the phone, and they look at whatever I was looking at. Basically the entire family, right? It was my two brothers and it was my mom as well. I don't even remember what my dad was doing. He was probably working in the hotel bedroom. They open the wardrobe, they take me outside, or they take me out of the wardrobe. They grab the phone, they take the phone off of my hands. They go to the living room, and I come with them. I'm sitting there in this living room, and all of them are looking at this phone being, what the hell is going on? And I remember feeling so embarrassed. Really, really shameful. A lot of guilt, a lot of embarrassment. That was the first time I saw porn in my life. When I was 8 years old, or maybe 8 or 9 years old, right? And I was addicted. That's the first time I saw it, but the first time my addiction started was probably when I was maybe 13 years old, 14 years old, right? And I struggled for many, many years, and eventually I discovered NoFap. And once I finally quit, I think I quit when I was this was 3 years ago, actually. I probably quit when I was 18, right? I was addicted for 3 years around. No, I'm sorry, I'm 18 right now. I quit when I was 15, right? When I finally quit, because that was the last addiction that I was addicted to that I finally quit. I was addicted to things like junk food and video games and stuff like that. I quit those other ones, but porn was the one that kept me down for the longest time. When I finally quit 3 years ago, it's been 3 years since I watched it. When I finally quit, my progress in terms of my own personal development, the gym, sports and stuff that, it just shot up. I think there's 3 big benefits when it comes to NoFap that not a lot of people talk about. They talk about women will be able to smell the retention on you, whatever the hell that means. You'll be able to shoot lightning out of your fingers in day 90. They say stuff is. Here are the 3 benefits that I experienced from NoFap, actually quitting my porn addiction fully. And so the first benefit of being on NoFap is being able to not be on NoFap anymore. Yeah, it's the best benefit of NoFap is not being on NoFap. And you might be, okay, what does that mean? Because the ultimate end goal of NoFap is to quit your porn addiction. Because what does NoFap mean inherently? NoFap means that You are trying not to fap. You are trying not to watch porn. You are trying. You're still addicted, but you're trying to quit. When you actually quit, which is what NoFap supposedly does for you, you just don't do it anymore. And so you're not on NoFap anymore. You just don't fap. You don't watch porn. That's not part of who you are anymore. And so one of the biggest benefits for me was being able to say to myself, oh yeah, I just don't fap. That's it. None of this stuff about, oh yeah, I'm trying to quit, I'm on NoFap. It becomes part of who you are almost, because NoFap is this kind of weird cultish environment. One of the best benefits of that was to not be on NoFap anymore. The second benefit that I got from that was I gained so much of my brain power and so much of my focus and my ambition back. Because you don't really understand how much of your potential, how much of your focus and your drive is being sapped because of this porn addiction. I remember when I finally quit, I was able to actually make progress in the gym. I was finally able to go from I was 106 pounds, closer to 100 pounds. At my height, I was 5'5", really, really skinny. I was finally able to go from 106 to 135, 140, because my drive came back, my ambition came back. And so it's interesting how when I finally quit my last big addiction, which was porn, my progress skyrocketed. You truly don't understand, or I never really truly understood how much porn was draining me until I finally quit. When I finally quit, I realized how much potential I was leaving on the table. Because porn, it saps your focus. It saps your energy, it saps your drive. I know I keep repeating this, but it's true. You don't understand how much of your energy is being wasted on things like porn. Right? Because, I mean, think about it tactically as well, because, you feel a spike in energy, right? You feel a spike in arousal, you feel horny, you feel lustful, you go, you bust a nut, you watch porn, and then you feel, how do you feel afterwards? Yeah, you might feel shame and guilt and stuff like that, but you feel lethargic, you feel tired, right? Because biologically speaking, evolutionarily speaking, you fulfilled one of the big parts of male life, which is just passing on your DNA to the next generation. And so it's kind of just like your body saying, hey, you're good, you're done, you don't need to do anything else, you don't need more drive and ambition or anything like that. But when you finally quit, you gain so much of your focus and your ambition back. And so that was a big benefit that I noticed as well. And the third benefit that I noticed was I stopped viewing women, really just other people in general, as sexual objects. And I didn't associate the feeling of being horny or being aroused with porn anymore, because you can probably relate to this. I remember a few years ago when I was really struggling with porn addiction, when I would get horny, when I would get aroused, I would consciously think to myself, no, you got to resist this. You can't relapse again. You can't do this again. You promised that you wouldn't relapse again, right? You're on NoFap. You can't be doing any of this stuff. I would think those things whenever I would feel an urge, or whenever I would get aroused, or feel horny rather. Now, when I feel horny, I just feel it. I don't associate it with anything, because it's just a feeling at the end of the day. It is really just a feeling. That was a big benefit for me, was when I feel horny, I don't associate it with anything. I don't associate it with porn or anything like that. I'm just, I just feel horny. That's it. It's really just as simple as that. That was a big benefit for me when I actually quit porn. And I stopped viewing women as sexual objects, because porn it's disgusting in this nature, where it makes you view women as objects for your desire when they are not. They're not that at all. right? Because they're their own human beings. They've got their own insecurities, their own problems, and their own dreams to deal with, right? But you don't think about it that. You don't think about them in that way. What do you think about? You think about, oh yeah, she's pretty. Oh yeah, she's got a big ass, right? You think about the physical side. You don't acknowledge the human side. That was a big thing for me. Those were at least the three main benefits that I got from NoFap. In my opinion, those are like some of the best benefits, which is that you don't have to be on NoFap anymore. You gain a lot of your energy and your focus and your drive back, and you stop viewing women as objects of basically just satisfaction, of gratification, because they're not. And you don't associate the feeling of being horny with relapsing anymore. Something that you can do to actually improve and make progress towards this from this video. I don't want this video to just be me just yapping to you. I actually want to give you something that you can actually implement. Is some things I did when dealing with urges, and there's two things. There's something called urge surfing, where think about the urges as a wave that flows through you, right? Think about it as an ocean wave. When you surf the wave, what you're essentially doing is you're feeling out the wave, right? You're feeling the urge, you're feeling whatever it is, but you're not acting on it. You're just feeling it, you're just letting it move through you. Because just because you feel something doesn't mean that you need to act on it. You can feel anything. You can feel angry, right? I can feel angry, for example, but I don't have to hit somebody else, because it's not good to hit somebody else when you're angry, right? That's us being too emotional. That's us being emotionally immature. I think that the emotionally mature man feels things, but he doesn't act on them. He feels them because he's a human being. We're all human beings. We all feel things, and that's fine. But you don't have to act on your feelings. And that was a thing that really helped me, was just surfing the wave of the urge. And the second thing is the urge is just energy at the end of the day. It's a form of energy. And literally the thing that I would do is I would get up and move. Because when you're in your room, it's way easier to do it when you're in your room, you're in a private environment. It's very, very easy to relapse. But if you feel that urge, you can use that as fuel to get up, get off your ass, and go outside, go interact with people, maybe go downstairs if you live in your house to your family, for example. It's going to be way harder for you to relapse. And it's going to be way easier for you to resist the urge when you do that. So those are the two things that helped me. If this video helped you and you want to go more in depth into actually how to quit porn in this exact step-by-step system that I used, I have a program. It has 5 main phases that you can follow to go and quit porn, all laid out. Everything is laid out for you step by step, all the resources, all the tools that you need. If that interests you, you can go and you can click the link in the description down below. Take care, brother.